This is a reading from the Notebooks by Marie Valtorta, 1944, April the 9th, Easter Day in the evening. Jesus speaks, and he speaks to me so painfully, and it is such a sad subject that I'm writing it separately. The dictation was in fact written on separate sheets which were later attached to the notebook. Jesus says, "Last year I said to you," see April 23rd in the notebooks of 1943, and it was the first dictation, "The Father is weary, and to cause the human race to perish, he will let the punishments of hell be unleashed. I said, it was Good Friday, and I would like to come a second time, to die, to save them from an even more atrocious death. But the Father does not allow this. He knows it would be useless. Oh, if only men were still able to turn to me, to am salvation. I refer you to all my dictations preceding the most recent ones. I have spoken by employing the prophecies of the Holy Book, explaining them to you, applying them to the present times. And if I was later silent on this note, it was because I understood that it was useless for the purposes of good and dangerous, for those divine words could become a weapon for diabolical torture against my servants, who heard, repeated, disseminated, and accepted them. But my thought, even if not expressed by the word, is this, and does not change. Maria, I told you at the end of last May, as regards the future. What do you want to know, poor soul? The dictation on May 31st, 1943. Thank my mercy, which for the time being, in large measure, conceals from you the truth about the future. Poor, poor soul. On another occasion, I said, you would like me to appear and show myself. But even if I showed myself, where is that residue of faith and respect in hearts which would make them bend with their faces to the ground to ask me for forgiveness and mercy? Dictation on June 5th, 1943. Even now, you ask me for a sign of power, which, since it is the power of a Holy One, of the Holy of Holies, ought to be inexorable, tremendous punishment of an incalculable number of people, for, I repeat what I have said 1,000 times. The previous occasion was March 28th, 1944. The great sinners exist because the mass is all more or less guilty of the same sins as they are. But, and I say this to you, poor soul, to whom I have granted the vision of me as triumphant. See January 10th, 1944. To infuse strength into your being weakened in your dying flesh and desolate in spirit because of the trial you have endured and the horrors surrounding you, I cannot give this sign. Not because God has lost his capacity to act. Nothing is impossible for me as God, but it is the hour of the power of darkness, and men have spontaneously wanted it. The kingdom of evil is already established. Anything I were to do would be rendered null by man's will. Any good would be destroyed by evil. I impotently witness all humanity's race towards spiritual death. There is no gift, benefit, call, or punishment by me that will serve to arrest this spontaneous shipwreck in Satan of mankind, redeemed by me. Like an enraged bull, humanity is demolishing everything, reason, morality, and faith, and it is heading for a crash against what slays it. The profaning hand of man rises up for a new crime which does not deserve forgiveness. And the Father does not want to forgive. He lets you perish as you have wanted to. The only thing I can do, and I do it out of mercy on the saints, who, as rare as flowers in the desert, still pray. They pray, not making an avowal of custom and hypocrisy, is to hold back the wrath of my Father, who, weary of the crimes of a race for which my blood has been shed to no avail, goes on wanting and wanting to apply justice to you. And justice, since you are blameworthy, would mean tremendous punishments, which my mercy does not want to be added to those you cause yourselves on your own. Maria, I know I am wounding and demoralizing you. You had hoped for joy from my Easter. Roses after the thorns, smiles after the tears. You are a victim. The thorns and tears remain even in the time of Easter, for it is necessary to stay on the cross for the sake of this perverse humanity. I ask you to remain on the cross for me. To save the world has been my dream. To save souls, my joy. The world is lost for God, but souls can still be saved, those who still have a soul, languishing, but alive. I ask you for charity in their regard. It is Jesus, a beggar for love in his role as the glorious risen one, who asks you for this offering of souls, so that his kingdom will still have subjects. Go in peace. Easter Sunday. The Holy Spirit says, I am the consoler. I console those who are demoralized by consternation and tortured by the present. I am the one who nurses and sweetens the bitterness of the world, that speaks the truth, which is quite bitter today. On this day, which is the triumph of charity, as Christmas is its highest manifestation, for Christmas is the beginning of the redemption, which is charity at work, whereas Easter is the fulfilled redemption, the victory of life over death, through love sublimely elevated into voluntary holocaust to give you life, and the act by which it was possible for me to descend into you, re-sanctified by the blood of God, the Son, to reunite you to the God the Father, with the charity without which God cannot be in you, or you in God. I come to say to you, go on trusting. Even if everything seems lost, trust. Even if the abyss of evil launches its demons forth to torture the earth and fecundate it to beget the Antichrist, and the abyss of the heavens seem to close by the decree of the Father from whom we proceed, we, the Word and the Spirit, are still working and loving to save and defend you. I as charity, and the Word as charity. I as sanctification, and the Word as redemption. Do not cease. The latter to pour forth the merits of his blood, and the former the charisms of his power for your good. Trust. Love has always won out.